Look at that.
Want to check it out? Hey campers, George here, back in the man cave. As you see, I was cutting some wood up there. Found a piece of wood. I was just thinking on an idea, and I felt like doing some carving, some very basic wood carving. So I have my old bear folder here. You've seen this one before. It's with the nice shape and everything. I want to see how it does carving. And I thought if I'm going to carve with this thing, I might as well make something for it. And here's my idea. This piece of wood and this spare ferro rod that I got when I was doing a ferro rod video, and it's a little threaded, I don't really worry about that. I drilled a hole in this piece of wood and put it in there, and I'm thinking of having a handle for it. And just making a basic handle, we'll see what we do. It's basically an experiment to see if it'll work. And I was thinking about this sheath right here. And this is the old bear sheath that comes with the old bear knife. And it's a little big, the sheath. As you can see here, when you put it in, I have some space here. And I was wondering if I could make something to fit in there with it. Like a ferro rod, Mary. Oh, what do? Cats. They do as they will. They own the place, don't they? So I was thinking of trimming this wood down and making a little handle, gluing this in there, and having it fit in here right next to the knife. Just got to figure out if it's going to work. In order for this to clip down, the handle is going to have to be short enough. There's my problem right there. Right now it's not going in, so it's going to have to be a little bit thinner, and I'll have to shape it, and that's what I want to do. And because it's for this knife, I'll use the knife. So let's have a look, see what we come out with. So I'm trying to get the bark off this. The problem I'm having is I've already cut it to length, and that's a bit of an issue. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do this. I mean, I can, but it's not the safest way I want to work. So I'm going to go with the longer piece of wood, pre-drilled, and this will go in there. I just got to measure how far it goes in, because when I cut here, I don't want the ferro rod to stick through it. So let's see. Put it in there. Gonna put a mark there, and we're gonna work up to this point. I'm just gonna put a little notch in here so you can see. And we're gonna get the bark off from there on and see what happens. Bark off. I love these knives. They're so thin and you can sharpen them so nicely. They cut so well on small stuff like this. So let me clean this bark off, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with it. Spur in the moment stuff, I don't have anything as far as the handle, what it's going to look like. I just need it to fit in the pouch. I've cleared off the bark from it. Now the thing that I got to check is that the length of the handle and the ferro rod really can't be longer than the knife. So I think we're okay there. Right where we are, I'm going to just trim it off a little bit above that. And let's just make sure. And we've got plenty of room to work with there. So some rough measurements. This is a rough job. I like these knives. They look nice, they're very cool, and they're fun to play with, as you can see. So the first thing I got to do is I'm going to have to make this thinner so that when the knife is in the pouch, like that, this is going to fit in there. And as you can see right now, it's kind of tight. I want it to be able to just slip in. So if I put this in here, when I put it in, it's got to be able to just slip in there pretty easy. And then, of course, I've got to be able to put the flap down and clip it. So let's work on it. So the first thing I got to do, like I said, is I have to make this a little bit sharper so it'll slide into the sheath. So what I got to do is I've got to keep this around. So I'm going to have to work all the way around. Just take a little bit off at a time and get it trimmed down. Already we're getting a little close there. Got to be careful that I don't do this too much where it weakens the handle. Not sure how I'm going to keep that ferro rod in here. I'm thinking maybe some stuff that always works pretty well is JB Weld. Maybe that'll work, and I can, as you can see here, it's not quite circle-ish. I've got to trim that off there. So high-tech words like circle-ish are well known in the carving industry. These knives, it's the right size. It feels really easy working with this, and it cuts this wood really well. So there you go there. It's a little bit better. It's not perfect, but I don't want it perfect. You know, this is handmade, so I want one of. So, is that thin enough now? So we put this in here. We go through the whole process again. I should just have two knives, one in there all the time. That's an excuse to get another one. So you can see it slips in a little bit better there. Now I can get it in there a little bit easier. It goes in. And that's it. It's at the bottom there. So I can feel the bottom of the ferro rod here. What my concern is that the wood's going to break. So what I'm just thinking out loud right now is that when I'm done, I'm going to be using some, obviously you don't want the wood to dry and then crack. Defeats the whole object. So this has been, it's old wood. It's been sitting outside. It was down by in the South 40 by the fireplace. And I put it in there with some other wood that I was going to burn. It's just from falling off the trees. But still, I think I'm going to put linseed oil on it when I'm done. And that should bring the color out a little bit. Now I just need to figure out how I'm going to shape it. Now, here's the thing, is that I've lost my knife. No, here it is. I'm going to use the knife to strike the ferro rod. That's the plan. So it has to be big enough to be able to hold pretty easily and then strike. Okay. I don't want to get the black off just yet. So do I want to make a place for the thumb when you hold it and you go down? Maybe I need to make some flat spots in here. Let's do that. Let's make 4 flat spots. When I say flat spots, like little indentations where your thumb would sit. And see, don't do this. I'm cutting towards myself. Not good. But let's see what we can come up with here. Turn it this way and finish off that cut. And they're going to have to be roughly the same size. So let's see there. The thumb fits in there, in that little indentation there. I don't know if you can see that. See it there. Not much of a one, just enough for your thumb to sit in. And of course I don't want to make it too deep because of the hole in the wood. Like that. So there it is there. Remember, I'm not going to have this piece here. And I don't want it too far back, because I'm going to be cutting off about there. So let's do some more. Let me do the other 4. And there you can see what I've done. I've made 4 thumb places. So when you grab it, your thumb will go to the same place, however you grab it, and it gives you some strength. Mary's inspecting my work, of course, and it's kind of important. She's like that. Now, I was thinking, what else can I do with this? Because it's really kind of plain, and I want to give it some character. I've got to decide how long I want it and then trim it off. And then maybe give it, I don't know, put some marks on it or something. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it some character. And what I did was I measured it in the pouch next to the knife and made a little mark there. So we'll round that off so that it's not sharp. And then maybe do a little bit more with it and then put some linseed oil on and see what happens. So as you can see, I made that mark around there, and I'm just cutting into it, and dug into that line to get a little bit more of a stop cut, so that I could just cut into it and trim off the wood. And apparently Mary wants to play right now. Okay, we satisfied Mary's little playtime. So now you can see there it is there. And all I did here was made what I call a little wood ferrule on the front, just to give it some, you see that there? And then of course there's the thumb holding parts. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off here, clean up that end piece, and then I'm thinking of giving it some character, and we'll put some linseed oil on after that. Okay. You can see I've cut it off now, and what I'm going to do, you can see I round it off. Cut it off here. We're going to round off the back here, and clean this up so there's not a sharp edge on it here. And then I'm going to try a little experiment with a lighter and maybe bring out the wood a little bit more before I put linseed oil on it. So now I've got to clean this edge up here. Clean this off. Round it off a little bit so it's not so sharp. And I'm hoping, I haven't tested it yet, but I'm hoping it's actually going to fit in here. So let's see what happens. If it doesn't, well, I have another ferro rod anyway. Really, it's just for my use and a nice little project to play on. Always a good time with a knife, especially sharp and shiny. And when you have little sharp furry pieces on it, I'll show you how to get rid of those. And it makes the wood look pretty cool. Real confidence. So there you can see I rounded the back off a little bit here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get me my favorite Bic lighter, and all I'm going to do is burn some of the sharp edges, and wherever it's a little furry, I'm going to burn them off. So here you have it right now. And now we're going to play with some fire. And all I'm doing is just burning the wood. Can you see it there? That's simply all I'm doing. I'm not trying to set it alight or anything. I just want to burn it a little bit. Now I was saying about the furry bits and that. When you do this, they'll burn off quicker than anything else, and they'll burn off first. So we go there, and I'm going to do the rest of it on the handle right now. So there you go now. You can see, let me Try and get a better view here. There you go. I burnt all the edges. And then all I did was, once I burnt it, I just rub it with my fingers like this. And now you've got a little bit more character to it. You can actually see the shape and what I did to it. So here I have my boiled linseed oil. And you can get this at any hardware, good hardware store will have it. And what you need is a cloth. And as you can see, my cloth is a little icky because there's linseed oil on it. And all I'm going to do is put a little bit on there. Like that, and rub it on. You want to actually, on the ends here, is where it's going to dry out quickest. So that's where you want most of your linseed oil to soak in. So we've got to give it a good coating. You can see it starts to bring out the wood a little bit more. If you have wood with a lot of pattern on it, linseed oil will bring it out as well. And you don't have to put anything else on it. Once you put the linseed oil on, it soaks in there and stops the wood, hopefully, from cracking. And it'll soak it right up. Now, the first time you do this, you want to put on a lot and let it soak in. When you put it on and you see it stop sinking in, you need to just stop for a while and let it sink in. And then maybe in a week or so, add some more, and until it does the same thing where it becomes totally soaked. When you're adding, it's not going in. And just let it soak in there. And it gives it some nice character and gets all over your fingers. You can see how the linseed oil has really, it's kind of hard to see because the lighting's not perfect, but it brings out the color in the wood and protects it at the same time. So it's a nice covering on it. And the more you rub it, the smoother it gets, because you rub off all the burnt stuff, smooths out really nicely. And we now have a very quick, easy project, carving. And now I have me a ferro rod handle. Now we have to test it to see if it actually fits in. Should have done that earlier, but hey, who's checking? So let's see if it all fits together. So I've got the sheath, and it has a clip, and I got my knife. By the way, I just touched it up again with some linseed oil. I'm going to put the knife in, and hopefully this little beastie will fit. Ooh, now will it clip together? And there you go. You can see there, ferro rod, old bear. Now, ideally, what I would like to do is to stain this the same color as this, which would make it a nice combo. It looked like it should be together. Right now it's very plain. I was just experimenting. Hopefully I can still do it when I can see. So it worked. Quick little wood project, whittling, playing with a knife. Always a good time. Remember, when you're playing with your knives, always be safe. Never cut towards yourself. Be very careful when you're doing it. And you should really wear gloves. But just remember, always be safe. And there you go. Right there. So, don't forget now. Like, share, subscribe. You know the story. I'm pretty sure I'll be back with some other useless thing for you to watch me make. I shouldn't say this is useless. It's a ferro rod. Just saying. And here's a test of it. So there you are. Chilly out here. So there you go. Nice little project. Something to keep you busy. You can do it around the fire. You can do it anywhere. You know, always a good time to sit and whittle a piece of wood. Just say. Thanks for watching. And you all be safe.